Good morning, good evening, and welcome to World of Warships. My name is Robin, and today we are going to sail in the Tier 7 Premium British Cruiser Belfast. But first of all, thank you very much for tuning in the video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you will enjoy your time here. Today's episode is going to be quite long. We are featuring 2 battles with the Belfast, but all of them are worth sharing, trust me. So let's start by reviewing the details of the ship we are about to sail in. The Belfast carries 12 152mm guns with a top range of 15.4 kilometers. She has 35,700 points of health and a top speed of 32.5 knots. Her anti-air defense system is rated 55. Her surface detection is 8.7 kilometers and the armor thickness goes from 6 to 114mm. For the upgrades I've installed, we have Main Armament Modification 1, Aiming System Modification 1, Propulsion Module Modification 1, Steering Gears Modification 2 and Concealment System Modification 1. For my commander, Priority Target, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, Demolition Expert, Inertia Fuse for HE shells and Concealment Expert. But that is enough of these descriptions. We have a lot of fun ahead of us, so without further ado, let's take the Belfast to battle. And here we are on the map Hotspot Standard Battle. We got ourselves a very nice spawn for our ship, with a lot of easy to reach cover that we can shoot over from. The matchmaking is quite fair. Tier 6 to Tier 8, although the Belfast is known to be a very powerful and dangerous ship regardless of the tiers she's fighting against. The combination of radar, smoke, hydroacoustic and very good concealment make her quite the right tool to set up ambushes, hunt down destroyers, contest flanks, and I plan on executing all of these tasks the best I can. Our team only has 2 destroyers, while the enemies have 3 of them. Spotting enemy ships in our vicinity is going to reveal quite tricky. I do have a decent amount of firepower backing me up though. I decide to take a bit of a risk and push through these patches of island to try and get an early dominant position. And here we go. The first enemy warships are detected, and one of them is a New Orleans. A very dangerous adversary for me since he's able to contest my move with his radar. He is directly designated as my priority target and I won't miss an opportunity to focus him down. But for now, the objective is to reach our position undetected and as fast as possible. Enemy Colorado in the distance is a very juicy target for me. My IFHE skill is the perfect tool to deal great amount of damage on his superstructure, so since I am in a relatively good location, I decide to engage. A couple of salvos over the island and we already landed almost 10,000 points of damage on the American battleship. Enemy airplanes might be in the air, and since I do not want to risk being detected, I'll lay down my smoke here. But we briefly get a glimpse of the enemy Akatsuki. Our CV has detected her, progressing through the island in front, and she is quite close to us already. Way too close, for her sake at least, since I know that she's now dead inside my radar range. Hydroacoustic is up, and I'm trying to get my CV to spot the Japanese destroyer again while I maneuver to bring all guns to bear on her last known position. Mogami is flanking from the extreme east and both of my allied battleships are not in a great position to contest her progression. I still have some time on my smoke, but I need to get my priorities sorted out. First threat after the New Orleans is the Akatsuki. I decide to pop my radar and look who's here. Very rough time incoming for that poor Akatsuki. She should have known this was coming, but now it is just target practice for us. At this range, we should be able to seriously injure her while our radar is still active. And combined with the fantastic accuracy of my guns, the Japanese destroyers stands little to no chances. Our CV also has bombers underway, so when our radar dies off, she is still visible. Our smoke is running out though, time for me to make a move, and we get the finishing strike and the first blood on the Akatsuki. Good start, but I do have to run now. This flank is inevitably falling into the enemy's hands, since our battleships did not hold positions. I cannot barrage the amount of enemy ships incoming by myself, so my retreat is forced. On top of it, the New Orleans is pushing through hard, and the fact that the Mogami is flanking as well doesn't help at all. I would not like to get caught in a crossfire between two such powerful warships. If only my battleships would still be around, these two cruisers would have second thoughts on advancing that confidently. But I do have plans for them in my mind, although I need to be careful about the way I plan to re-engage. For now, I can run away and fall back towards my allies, but all the while still trying to get a key position on the enemy's progression. Our team on the other flank next to our base is playing very defensive, which is good for now, although we might have to realize that if my flank in the east is left unprotected like this, we might have multiple warships pincering our positions and everyone would be caught in a very nasty crossfire. I am still requesting help from my teammates, but the situation is not easy for them to grasp, unfortunately. I was finally able to create some distance and reconcile from the New Orleans, and I have to take advantage of this short moment to stop my retreat, reposition and start dealing damage again. That is the only way I can hope to at least slow down some of the enemy ships around. I decide to re-engage a bit exposed in the open seas, but I have my smoke ready and only the Mogami has a clean angle on me. I can hit the King George over the island he's taking cover from, and I don't think he can retaliate on me that close to the island. Some quick salvos on the New Orleans as well. I remembered I needed to focus him first, and I keep on creating a bit of distance. My plan is to deny firing angles on me using the islands in order to turn in and attack from a different angle again. But the odds are getting greater and greater. Enemy CV is now around, supporting his ships on our flank, and stealth outside of my smoke won't really be an option anymore. So, engines off, smoke up, and let's try to smooth down this KGV for now. Our team is not really doing good at all. We lost our aircraft carrier and the enemies are starting to outnumber us, and they are taking the lead point-wise as well. On the good side, my battleships are turning back to intercept the enemy Mogami, so at least I know that the Japanese cruiser will be busy enough to forget about me for now. What worries me is that on the minimap, the New Orleans' last known positions indicated that he was going through the islands from east to west, and he is now definitely trying to hunt me down. Why else would he sail in the open seas, exposed to my friendly's fire, if it wasn't to contest my smoke? And yep, here we go. I am detected by radar, but thankfully I've anticipated this and I'm neutral to the American cruiser. Although his super heavy AP shells are not joking around, and I still take a great deal of damage from the bow. I immediately retaliate back. We have equal damage dealing potential on each other's, and I'm hoping that my bow will soon get saturated and that I won't take too much AP damage anymore. Although New Orleans superstructure and bow are not armored enough to sustain my HEs, and I'm slowly taking the advantage on them as well. Thankfully, his radar died and he was the only ship aiming at me. I do have a couple of seconds of stealth before my smoke runs out, so I decide to go full forward and charge my enemy. If the New Orleans sticks to AP, there is not much he can do anymore. The KGV could be the end of me while I'm exposed, but what choice do I have? So here I stand, New Orleans. You came all the way here for me, now give it your best shot. If I take him down, I cannot even hope to reconcile, since enemy airplanes are right on top of me anyway. Thankfully, the enemy CV did not decide to help out his friendly cruiser and is going after the Colorado instead. Makes sense now, because his torpedoes cannot harm me anyway. Or can they? I can't remember. But we do win the brawl against the New Orleans. We are barely alive, but hope is not dead yet, and neither am I. My AR skill is kicking in, which compensates for the amount of health I lost in this engagement, and my smoke is good to go again. At this point, the wisest would have been to fall back to my base, try to retreat as far as possible, but that's not my playstyle, and that's not even an option. While the KGV is still trying to get through the islands, enemy Colorado was about to peek on my right and get the final drop on me. I was rushing for the island, airplane still spotting me, to try and isolate myself with only one target, but it's too late. I have to smoke up again if I wish to survive. And while our team is getting absolutely handled in the west, I am just waiting for my time to come. I do not have any direct support anymore, nothing to spot enemy ships and torpedoes incoming on top of that. I should be able to dodge them, so I switched my attention to where the KGV could be coming from. I popped my radar just for the sake of it, but we were actually in range to spot the British battleship. I only have a very limited window to finish him off, and I managed to set a couple of fires on him so that my allies in the back can still detect him even after my radar dies. As you can see, this would not be possible anymore in the recent patch thanks to the new smoke changes. But this battle was before that, so we were still able to remain undetected while shooting at an enemy ship so near to our smoke. We do take out the King George with an unexpected close quarter expert. And we should be out of trouble, right? No, not at all. What were they thinking? Colorado is still threatening my starboard, and the second I'm out of my smoke, I realize I'll inevitably run into the Mogami. No other options. Full HP or almost, high DPS Japanese cruiser, what are my odds, honestly? I still switch to AP. I can maybe surprise the Mogami with a high damage dealing salvo while I still have the chance, and we do land a couple of citadels. Mogami isn't blind, of course, and retaliates, but she's using the 203mm version of her guns. Now that is interesting. That might give me a couple of extra seconds to keep on punishing her broadside. And when Mogami realizes she's losing health rapidly, she decides to try and use her torpedoes instead of finishing me off with one last salvo. Well, be my guest, Mogami, be my guest. We take out the Japanese cruiser, earning high caliber, and that was way more easy than it should have ever been, I won't lie. No idea what the Mogami was thinking, but he surely wasn't the sharpest tool in the shelf, no offense. We should be rather safe now. We have reached some cover and we are not in the open anymore. I can creep up from behind on the enemy Colorado and assist on taking him down. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I tried to defend this flank, our team is definitely losing. We've reached the point of non-return when everyone is out of position and our foes are just controlling the seas. We secured a kill on the Colorado, gaining our 5th kill of the battle and a Kraken unleashed. And at this point, there is just nothing more I can really do. If the enemy CV was dealt with, which is absolutely not the case, my chances of survival would be higher now that I can use cover to my advantage, but I spent my last smoke and pretty soon there will be no one else to spot for me, so hell, what's the point? I'm just farming for damage on the Nagato and the incoming Garabsby. We get our Confederate achievement. We did dealt almost 200,000 points of damage on the small amount of ships we engaged. But yeah, this is a total slaughter. I don't know what went wrong on the western flank. Our defensive positions were strong and I could not assist since I was already pretty busy dealing with the situation here. I'm desperately trying to think of a strategy while my smoke is slowly dissipating. Maybe fall back, stick behind this island but remain completely blind. I'll just pop my radar instead, why not? That will give us a couple more salvos on the Graf's B. And there we go. I am the last man standing, and only now I realized that I was also the only ship that sunk an enemy. And what you are about to witness is one of the most epic comeback you've ever seen on World of Warships. I am about to outplay and erase single-handedly every single remaining ships in the area in a combination of swift moves, shell dodging and HE spamming for the remaining 6 minutes of the game. Never before a player was so skilled, he managed to kill all 12 enemy ships and pull out the best clutch in the history of multiplayer games. So strap in and hold on, I only have 1000 HP left. I can easily do this because I am so good. Nah, really, come on, I'm just about to be dropped by the CV, shot by an invisible destroyer, and get taken out seconds later by the enemy Nagato salvo. And that was a defeat. Over 200,000 points of damage dealt, 4,500 XP earned, and more than 700,000 crits gained. We achieved Confederate, a lucky close quarter expert, Kraken Unleashed, First Blood, and High Caliber. What else can I say? Over 2000 base XP, more than the winning's enemy's top scoreboarder, and honestly, very decent damage dealt on all the targets we engaged. This game was as fun as it was ironic. I can hardly imagine how the outcome of this battle would have been if our team was not so unlucky. But let's shake this defeat off of our backs. We are not done yet, since one more battle is waiting for you guys. So let's not wait around some more and move on to the next one. And here we are again. On the map Neighbors, Standard Battle. We have spawned on the 1000 part of the map, and I'm heading northeast towards island cover, escorted by an allied destroyer and another friendly Belfast. This time, the matchmaking is in our favor. We are pitted against mostly tier 7 and 6, with a couple of tier 5s sailing around. I do intend on applying the same strategy as last game, in a successful manner this time I hope. Get close to cover as soon as possible, take dominant positions, and ambush any audacious destroyers. 2 Belfasts on one flank is a bit overpowered though, but I won't complain about having additional firepower to help out. I'm trying to convince our friendly Mayhan to smoke our progression. American smoke is a treat for any ships willing to push and take a bit of a risk, so let's see if we can get some team play from him. Plus, this Mayhan is our only destroyer. It is our duty to try and protect him the best we can. And he's pushing in quite boldly, and I like that playstyle, especially early game when you're intending on getting that first quick gun and run on a cheeky enemy ship that is trying to do the same. So we are pushing in. We do have some muscles behind us. A battleship and a couple of cruisers that can keep the enemies busy while we sneak around. But so much for sneaking, we are already detected. Enemy DD in the area for sure, and I decide to hold on my radar for now. Too many islands able to block a line of fire, and I was right not to use it. Enemy Akatsuki got a bit too close to us and got detected as well. Quick reaction fire before she hides behind the island, and I turn straight towards her in full pursuit. I might be overextending already and most enemy ships might have an angle on me, but I cannot let this Akatsuki get away with it. Hydroacoustic is up and running, and I'm waiting for the Japanese destroyer to pick this corner. If she does not, our Mayhan will flank her and our other Belfast will have an angle as well, so I deny this path here. Akatsuki knows it and decides to smoke, but it is too late. She's inside our hydroacoustic range. I do not want to get too close though. It would be a shame to allow her to send her torpedoes from point blank range, so hard turn to port and let's light her up like a Christmas tree. I know I will be spotted during the entire engagement, but I should be angling away from any potential threats already. Risks and rewards, that's how I call this kind of situations. I'm exposing myself big time for the sake of taking down an enemy destroyer. Gambling on luck and RNG, all the while being confident I can reach my objectives, and we do take out the Akatsuki like we intended to do. First blood, and there you go, Mehan, one less threat for you to deal with. I am now rushing for cover. Only the enemy Garnisonnière is able to engage me, and I'm gladly shooting back at her. The enemy battleships haven't even left their caps yet, and cannot really land a proper salvo on us. That is how efficient and swift the Belfast can be when dancing around cover and taking advantage of her enemy's mistakes. I rammed the island quite unintentionally. I'm a bit worried that the Akatsuki managed to launch torpedoes before she was sunk, but that would be unlikely considering the angle and the fact that my hydroacoustic is not picking up on anything. I am safe from any harms, so I can take the time needed to maneuver to watch the minimap and decide of my next move. We have a huge enemy force stacked up directly northwest of us, and I would love to get an angle and start raining shells. I still have my smoke ready, so I'm in a rather comfortable state. Our team is deployed evenly throughout our defense lines, so we should not be worried about what flank to protect first and focus on dealing damage. I am doing two things here. Increasing my shooting angles on both north and northwest, all while keeping my ship protected from torpedoes, more or less, thanks to the island in front of me. If I get in trouble, I can evade through the islands behind me quite easily, so this is a great position to lay down my first smoke. Although when in smoke, the Belfast is very dependent on her teammates when it comes to spotting. Our Mehan must have smoked up himself, since we are having a hard time detecting enemy ships on this flank, even when they are shooting. I've cleared the Akatsuki for the Mehan to progress safely and spot, but he is not really playing along. We could really use the intel actually, but whatever, we need to wait until someone spots something. In the meantime, I've dealt good damage and set a couple of fires on the French cruiser. She should be hurt enough for us to try and finish off if we can get a beat on her again. But this lack of spotting is getting dangerous for us. Some battleships manage to progress through, and I need to cover a way wider shooting angle now. I am also worried about torpedoes since the second enemy DD's position is still unknown, so I decide to activate my hydroacoustic surge again. A couple of good salvos on the Garnisonnière and we manage to take her out. 30 seconds left on my smoke, I can keep engaging the Iron Duke and then Ninegato, efficiently setting some fires on them. But it is soon time for me to move. Like I planned, I can easily escape behind this island here and remain safe from harms. Although I'm surprised about how close quartered all the engagements are happening. Both teams are holding their grounds, but in a very aggressive manner. We do have a patch of allied warships down the southwest that might break through and start pushing north, but that most likely will make the enemies fall back directly towards us. So, knowing this, I decide to slowly slide towards the other side of my cover, all the while engaging the Iron Duke to see if I can get a crossfire position on any retreating ships. Enemy Fiji was last seen around this center area, and our allied Belfast is trying to deal with her. Even if she is facing the same problem as earlier, she cannot spot her from her smoke. I would love to assist, but Iron Duke is such a juicy target, and I'm in such a nice position that I prefer to deal damage from safety rather than exposing myself trying to find a stealthy cruiser. We are setting fires quite efficiently on the British dreadnought, all while staying in cover from other enemy warships. But we might have a bit of a problem. The red team is regrouping back towards her base, and I'm a bit worried about a counterattack up north. Our allied force here won't last very long against that many ships if they decide to push. Looking at the minimap, you can really try to anticipate the traffic and adapt accordingly to it, and that is what I'm trying to figure out while focusing the Iron Duke still. He repaired my fire instantly, and I can't really pass the opportunity to punish it. He is sailing away, but we can still hit him, and I'm just trying to land one more fire to keep the barbecue going. Keeping an eye towards the northwest, I noticed that a lot of enemy ships are directly behind the island I'm taking cover from, very close to me. I don't really know how to react yet, but I need to be extra careful. Our force in the southwest is completely out of position now, and a straight path for our base is open. I'm the only one around that can directly cover the area, so I decided to push forward just to get a bit of intel. And I was right. Enemy York, assisted by the enemy Fiji, was pushing south in order to flank us, and that is very bad for me. I am quite alone here now, facing two powerful enemies. No other options here. I can't risk pushing forward and engage in a straight gunfight with these guys. I need to back off and let them push me instead. But as soon as I lay down my smoke, it is rendered useless by the York's hydroacoustic search. Even if the Belfast is not really good at knife fights, she can still hold her grounds thanks to a very good rate of fire. But 3 enemies pushing me is way more than I can bite, and I'm in big need of friendly support here. If I was a Fiji equipped with torpedoes in this situation, I would feel more confident, but this is not the case. I only have my guns to protect me. AP is loaded, first choice of course in close quarter combat, and I wait for the York to rush me. I know she has torpedoes, but I have the island and she'll need to push quite far in order to launch an efficient volley on me. That will give me enough time to punish her broadside and contest her attempt to rush me. Here comes the York's torpedoes. She launched them way too soon and I can easily evade, although I have an emerald coming from behind. She might get an angle on me pretty soon and I need to be neutral against both of them now. The emerald does not have a lot of firepower, but that does not mean I can afford to show her my broadside. The York is going down. We did landed some very good AP salvo along with some citadels, and as soon as she's dealt with, I floor the engine forward and turn my guns on the emerald, and oh, that sweet broadside she's showing me. If it wasn't for my turret traverse, I would have gotten myself a nice double strike, but we do take her out regardless before she backs off behind cover. Whew, pretty close, right? I should be safe enough to take a breathing, huh? Nope, full health Koning is pushing right behind the sunken York. Fuck my life. Pardon my French, but my smoke is only good to go in 20 seconds, not nearly enough to prevent the German battleship from spotting me. I'm expecting to go down, but my bow was heavily saturated by the York's attack, and I'm hoping I can tank some partial damage until I can smoke up again. I still have an enemy cruiser, last seen on the minimap, lurking around from behind me, but I don't have any time to think about this. When the Koning sends his salvo on me, half of the shells miss and the rest only deals minimal damage. I decide to pop up my radar to get a bead on the enemy cruiser, and it turns out that it was the enemy Mayoko rushing me as well from the front. My radar is also detecting an enemy destroyer, but I'm a bit overwhelmed at the moment and I can't engage 2 targets at the same time. AP is loaded. Can we hope that the Mayoko will do the same mistake as our friendly York? And it seems like she's doing it. She's showing me a full broadside. First salvo is too low, but the second shot instantly deals with the Japanese cruiser, earning us high caliber, Confederate and a Kraken unleashed. And still no goddamn time to rest. Koning is still a threat to me, and now the Mahan is pushing from behind. It seems like the enemies really want to flush me out of this position, and they will succeed if I don't get any help. All guns turned on the American destroyer, and I'm flooring the engine forwards again so I can evade his incoming point-blank torpedo salvo. Apparently the Mayhan wasn't aware I was here since his guns were not turned towards me. Still, this is very awkward and I don't have a choice but to get out of my smoke straight into the Koning. Belfast secures the kill and at the same time Koning is dealt with. Alright, okay, I'll take it. Hot damn, we get to survive and tell the tales of a very tense and fun close quarter battle with multiple enemy ships. Our team is now doing pretty good. We have a strong lead in points and we outnumber the enemy team now. We should not have too much of a hard time reaching for the victory. And I'm just going to stay here behind this island and deal some partial damage to any ship I can actually shoot at. So let me speed this up and I'll meet you at the scoreboards. And here we go. Our team managed to hunt down all remaining warships and only the Iron Duke is standing. We tried our best to hold our position but did not really dealt much more damage while doing so. But there was no real need and moments later we secure our victory. Over 170,000 points of damage dealt, 4,000 XP earned and 450,000 credits gained. We achieved Confederate, Kraken Unleashed, First Blood and High Caliber. Some nice brawls we had with the Belfast on these two battles. I really enjoyed my time sailing this ship, like I do with any British cruisers to be honest. And I hope this video showcased a decent example on how she can be played efficiently. I hope I also explained myself clearly enough when trying to justify my actions and decisions. But people, that is the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching it entirely. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, thumbs down. But stay tuned anyway. There is still more content to come about World of Warships. So, until then, thank you again, you have a good one, and you take it easy.